Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I'm doing part 2 of my Rainbow Farm seed build. So, if you're interested in this build, it is up on the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. So right now I am finishing up the barn and I am mostly just going to finish up the barn, do some of the exterior, but the main focus of this one is actually the house. Which when I first set out to do this, I was more interested in just being at a rainbow farm. You know, I just kind of had the house because farmhouse on a farm makes sense. But then I really got into it. But right now I am setting up just kind of the exterior and I'm about to put in the animals, I think. And that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But right now I put in some trim to try to kind of make the stalls look more stall-like, and I ended up using fencing to make sort of rafters. And at first when I did this build I thought I might make the upstairs accessible, but nah. I had so much trouble with the roofing that I just kind of was like, no, it's good as it is. But yeah, here I'm doing the animals. So for all the different animals, which are all crazy and I love them all, I just sized up either children's toys or the statues. And so the only thing with the children's toys is your Sims will try to pick them up. They will try and pick them up and they will look ridiculous. Like here's a picture. I was playing through so I could get good screenshots of stuff, and like this dude, one of the Sims, just picked up one of the horses and moved it. And it looked like the horse was crushing him, but it's not. So all of the animals that are toys are enclosed in fences, so I really recommend just locking the fences, and then that'll stop your Sims from picking up the toys. Yeah, that was so obnoxious. It was so obnoxious. But here I'm doing the chicken coop. We've been over this. It's chicken coop, right? Okay. But here I'm doing the chicken coop, and I absolutely loved this. And I loved that the statues, like a lot of them came in different colors, so it added to the effect of the rainbow farm of having rainbow colored animals as well. And to make sure that, I don't usually do this because I'm lazy, but for this build I actually deleted the lot and then bought it back in from my personal gallery because it wasn't up on the gallery on the time, so I don't know. But anyways, so nothing fell down, because sometimes when you have move objects on and you download it off of the lot or off the gallery, the lot gets kind of messed up. But somehow miraculously this one was fine, so hopefully it's fine for you guys as well. Especially because I just love how I placed the chickens there. It looks pretty realistic, right? Like they all look like they're hatching some eggs. And so yeah. And I got all sorts of animals in there. I get giraffes. I put in horses, of course. A horse is a horse, of course. Sorry. But here's a feeding trough that I did and I absolutely loved it. I thought that looked perfect. Yeah, like I think that works surprisingly well, and I think it's pretty obvious what it is. I don't know if Sims can swim in it. I don't think they could because it's kind of up on a thing. But I put the horses in this because that's what I originally intended that sort of pen for, as sort of a place you can ride your horse around in a circle, or more of an oval, or more of a distended octagon, I think. But yeah, and so that horse, because it's a statue, I tried to hide its base. And so none of this looks realistic because we don't actually have animals yet in The Sims, but I thought it looked really fun. And so here I am doing the bunny enclosure, which I also loved, and I managed to use 2 different statues of bunnies. One of them looks more realistic than the other, but I mean in the end they're both weirdly colored. Although the cartoony one actually has a surprising amount of colors. I forget which guru it was, but on Twitter there's one of the Sims 4 gurus has put in different bunny things because she has this like really old bunny that she's had for forever, and it's like if you see a black bunny on different things like in the clothes and whatnot, it's actually based off of her bunny, which I think is really cute. But you know, this is this, and so I made sure I wanted to put a little hutch in there, so I sized up a dining or a coffee table or a side table, that's the word. And I also added these sort of roof pieces to it, and so I thought that made a good little like bunny hutch. Especially because you wouldn't want them out in the non-existent rain, would you? And I also, I tried to make everything look like really grown in and natural. And so I thought that'd be really cute. I think that this would be a really fun lot for role-playing. It's so cute. I love it. And so here I am trying to sort of hide the fact that that's, what's the word? A roof. Because I want to look more natural. And like I said, I tested everything, so you can, use those stairs. You have access to everything. The Sims can't actually walk on the little ramp part, but, that's just for show anyways. But yeah, everything is accessible, except for there was this one bedroom that I had to change the last minute, because, you couldn't get into the bedroom, and so you were down 2 beds, and I was like, no! But here, I actually added in some gardening boxes because I thought if you're role-playing the game, you might actually want to grow some produce, because in the little farmer's patch, none of that is, edible. It's just for decor. But here I'm finally starting to get into the house, and it has a kind of quirky layout, especially where I put the fireplace. I kind of put it in a hallway, which is kind of weird, but that's kind of where it ended up in the living room. I really like the layout of this. I thought it looked really like a old school layout, but with a good flow. Does that make sense? And I just went crazy with colors. I tried to go absolutely insane, and I think I did that. And I don't know how attractive it looks, but it's colorful, and I like a lot of it. Especially the dining room ends up being really nice. And so here upstairs are 2 bedrooms, and then there's also a playroom and a bathroom. And the only reason why that's a playroom is I figured the 2 bedrooms up here would be for kids, and so it'd be fun to have a playroom instead of an office, especially because downstairs there's already an office, a mini office area. And also I didn't want everybody to have to go through somebody else's bathroom or bedroom to get to the bathroom. So I kind of just made that a playroom. So I don't know. But every single floor is a different color from its neighbor. I think I might have 1 or 2 repeat colors, but none of them are right next to each other. And I did use carpets upstairs, I think. Yeah. I actually really like using light carpets in real life. I feel like there's this weird trend of hardwood floors and tile only. And I grew up in a house with a lot of carpet, and so it's just kind of weird to me. But the Sims 4 carpets don't actually look that good. And when they finally added in more colors, I was kind of like, you chose these colors? Okay, I guess. Okay. And all of the patterned carpets, a lot of them look too commercial for house use, which is the point. It's from the dine out set, but I still was just like, nah. But here, here I'm starting to work on the kitchen. And first I wanted to have rainbow countertops. And I also had an actual full-on rainbow sort of cabinets. But I ended up just kind of mixing the colors, and I forget why I did that. I think I actually kind of liked it better as this rainbow. I don't know why I did that. I think because I wanted to color the countertops as well, but those all, I didn't want the actual countertops. I wanted those all to be the same color, and they were all different, and so it just didn't look good. It literally looked like you threw in a whole bunch of different segments of countertops, and it wasn't as sleek and streamlined as I would have liked it. But yeah, so this kitchen ended up being really colorful, and I added in a chess table, just because the dining room is right off the side, so it wouldn't really make that much sense to have an eat-in kitchen. If you want to change it, feel free. That'd be a great place to put just a little dining table to have an eat-in kitchen, but here, is the actual dining room, and here I think is where I really started to have some fun, because I feel like I actually never get to use those chairs that we got way back when with the brain fart, the movie Hangout stuff pack, and I really love them, and they're really whimsical, but I never really felt like I could use them, because I tend to go with really hyper modern builds, and I've also done some sort of just kind of regular or Victorian kind of style builds, and they haven't been as whimsical as those chairs would kind of imply. And so I was excited to use them, and I had so much fun just kind of going crazy with colors in this, because usually because I build so many modern houses, I tend to fall into this rut where I stick with like sort of teal colors and grays and some soft browns, and that's about it. That's like the extent of my color palette. So I wanted to really like go hardcore on the colors, and it actually inspired one of my next builds. It'll be the one after the next one after this. So in two builds, or in one build, I don't know. But it'll be soon. I actually went with an all pink theme, which I've never done before. I'm not a huge pink person, but I just kind of wanted to go for it, and so it's fun. It's really cute, and I love it. So I have so many like speed builds in the work right now, so I think I might be able to start going back to more of a build sort of every other day schedule, with like every once in a while a build every 3 days or 2 days, because for a while now I've been just doing every few days, so hopefully I can go back to that. That'd be really nice. Things are kind of starting to calm down with school, although gosh, there's like, I was doing this one chapter and it was just endless, and it was endless, and it was endless, and it was like excruciating. Probably about as excruciating as hearing me talk about it is. So imagine that, and then now imagine that being schoolwork. But here, I definitely leaned very heavily on the movie hangout stuff pack, and also that new stuff pack we got for the backyard, sort of summer backyard stuff pack. I used that a lot too, and so that was a lot of fun. I used that for a lot of the rugs, and yeah. So this is the, oh, 1 second, my water bottle's like right in front of the mic. I took a little break because I talked for like 12 minutes straight there. I tend to pause during my recordings just because I like run out of fuel because I talk so fast, but this is the sort of adult like master bedroom, and I actually had a lot of trouble with that one, and I end up, I think, kind of coming back to it after a while, but it was just kind of difficult for me. Unlike some of these other rooms that made more sense, but this room does not make sense. It's like literally a hallway with a fireplace in it, and then a little place to sit, and so I don't know how much sense that makes, and I put it there because I have a chimney. And I know you don't have to have the chimney where, you know, it comes out on the roof, but I kind of try to do that. Kind of, I don't know. When I have a fireplace and I have a chimney, I try and line them up, but when I only have a chimney, I don't care where the fireplace goes because there is no fireplace. But here I'm using more of those flowers again, and I just thought that made this so much fun, you know. This build actually reminds me of a build that Hattie Sims did ages ago for Vixella. It just kind of reminded me of that, especially with the some of the sort of lilacs and light purples and sort of pinky colors. I thought that looked a lot like that. But then we've also got rooms like this where it's just like red, blue, in your face. And some greens. You can tell I'm like super hardcore. And so I think now I'm starting to get into the lighting for most of the house, especially the downstairs. I haven't gotten into the upstairs like at all yet, and I do spend a fair amount of time doing that. And so for this build, I kind of imagined it would be a house for like 3 to, let's see, 6 Sims, and I was thinking maybe like a couple and their kids, or like a couple and their kids and maybe like a grandparent or something, or family Sim. But I think this build would be so much fun for role playing, and I think you could also like change out the different animals that are on the farm if you want to role play with that. And so I've never really made a build before where it's like really, you could really role play with this. And so I'm really proud of that. And so if you guys ever, you know, start to role play with this or anything, feel free to, like, you know, comment on this video or send me a message over on my Twitter, which is also just Penapple. I think it might be penappleYT, but there's a link to it in the description down below. But yeah, I'd really love to see that. Absolutely love to. But yeah, so here I'm still kind of struggling with what decor to put in that room, and I think I just kind of went with that. It's not, that room is not, it's probably my least favorite in the house. Yeah, pretty much. And oh, I added all these curtains in, which works. The Sims can walk through them, and I think they really added to some of the like fun effects. And so here I'm starting to get into the kids' rooms, and so I had a little trouble with this room that I'm working on here because the colors looked good for the other rooms, but they didn't quite for that one, and so I ended up tinkering with it a bit. But both of the children's rooms have 2 beds each. I figured farm life is usually not very solitary. I don't know. What am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about, but I thought that this room especially would be good for twins because they're sort of mirrored on either side of what's going on, just with like kind of, it's like the same objects but different colorings. And so I thought that that was a lot of fun. And so here, you know, I'm trying to do that do that room, and I think I forget even what I finally did. Like, I think it's probably this, but I just kind of chucked in a couple beds, and I throw in a dollhouse, and then this is the room where I actually made it completely inaccessible because I ended up putting a stuffed animal in the way, that stuffed animal. But I went back and I fixed it, and so you'll see it's different in the screenshot, and it's also fixed up on the gallery. So that's nice. It's nice to have that fixed. And also, one of the rooms I surprisingly really like is the hallway upstairs. I don't know. I mean, I added hexagon shelving to it, and so I think that's part of why I really want to use that more. Oh gosh, I'm tired. Oof, goodness, excuse me. What was I gonna say? What? I don't know. But this room, the playroom has a puppet theater, which I made sure, actually no, I didn't make sure it worked. I turned off move objects when I placed it, so hopefully it works. Like, so here I've like, you know, I have move objects off, so hopefully, you know, it's accessible and people can sit there. But then I turned move objects back on just because I wanted to put this little chair next to a bookshelf. I thought it'd be a really cute reading nook. And I think the other side is a desk. I don't know if it has a computer or not, but I thought this would just be a fun playroom. I never really had a playroom as a kid. My playroom was just the living room, but I definitely had friends and relatives who had playrooms, and I always thought that was really cool. So I like to include them in my builds. I like to do that a lot. I like to include things into my build that I didn't have growing up, and that's not because like I was under-resourced in any way. It's just it's not one of the things that was prioritized, and that's chill. Oh, and here I add the fencing again, and it's ridiculous fencing, but I kind of love it. And like, you know, I'm adding in the hexagons. And then I think I am going to be doing the lighting for the upstairs pretty much. And then I get into some of the outdoor sort of patio spaces for the house, and I really love those. Those also are colorful, and it just added a little bit more usable space. Actually, when I was, you know, just trying to like do screenshots, one of my Sims set the grill on fire, and I was just like, are you kidding me? I'm trying to make this house look nice and you're ruining it. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, feel free to leave me a like, a comment, or subscribe. The screenshots, oh wait, no, you can download this off of the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. And so the screenshots are coming up soon, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!